you can simulate it for a possession or two or three or whatever, but it's 40 minutes of, every time you take the ball out of bounds, you're gonna see pressure and good pressure. So that's the part, you can be prepared for it, but I think at times there's a cumulative effect to it, and that's the thing that you probably really can't prepare for.
What do you do? Put six, 7, 8 guys on defense?
It depends on the type of pressure that you're working on, see, I think their half court pressure is just as good, if not better, than the full court pressure. So it's not just a matter of, okay, you can breathe deeply or whatever, take a sigh of relief when you get the ball across half court, because their half court defense is outstanding. So it's a full possession by possession battle when you have the ball of not only taking care of it, but being able to execute and think properly to get to the spots and the shots that you need in order to have a chance to be successful.
Do you put extra guys on defense?
At times in practice, we will do that depending upon the type of pressure that we're facing.
I think some of basically all the old teams, since they're all new, are ready for the type of atmosphere that Saturday will bring. Given you haven't had the most fans here this season, and obviously it's going to draw a lot of attention. And is that almost a double-edged sword where we saw in the City game there was kind of an increased edge because of the atmosphere there, but at the same time it could draw some nerves out of it?
I think that I don't know. I think the double-edged sword would be if we just reacted improperly. If all of a sudden we allowed the crowd to cause us to play in a way that we shouldn't play. That would be the only concern with that. And I know that sounds, maybe odd talking about your home crowd, but a big crowd is a big crowd, and so. But we've addressed it. We've talked about it, and so we're doing the best that we can to prepare them. But again, this will be, in its own way, another first-time experience for them, and so the only way for them to get through it or whatever is to go through it, and so. But I'm not worried about having. I think the crowd will be I'm hoping will be a great benefit. I'm hoping.
Just it'll draw nerves out of it?
I mean, I don't know that nerves would. I think it would be more almost having them overexcited. Not make them nervous to play in front of this many thousand instead of that many thousand. Just do they get overhyped and what comes with that? That would be a bigger concern than them being nervous. They're not gonna be nervous about it. It's just I don't want them to be, overwired.
For someone like a Marcus, who's a freshman who handles the ball as much as he does, is there anything extra that you say to him or do with him going into a matchup like this?
Not really. I think the key thing that you want in your guard play, not just with Marcus, the thing that you want in your guard play against people that are really active defensively like they are is you just want to make the easy play. You don't need to try to make difficult plays. Just try to make the easiest play that you can. And sometimes we're pretty good at that. Sometimes we have struggled to do that. So it's vitally important on Saturday to our success that we try to make the game as simple as possible.
When you look at a matchup like this, Kevin, what are some areas that you look at and kind of, maybe say, even though this team's ranked or playing, even though we have these many freshmen, this is an area where I feel like we can do well against them and potentially make it a game?
Well, this game's been I've been a little harder pressed to find some of those areas, but we certainly are going to try to take advantage of what we feel like our advantages are. I don't want to stand up here and talk about what I think our advantages are, but if we have some advantages, I think I know what they would be, and we certainly have to try to exploit those to the fullest extent that we can, and we will, but or we will try to, is what I mean, and so But I think you got to keep fresh bodies out there. You know, just you try to keep fresh guys in the game, and they all have to know what we need to do, and they all have to know how to execute the game plan, and that's a lot easier said than done, because you know what West Virginia really does well is they try to force you to make decisions on the move, and they're really good at it. They're good at speeding you up and you know, all the things that they do defensively. So you have to be able to play the game as under control as possible.
How much respect do you got for Bob Huggins? Obviously, you guys are two tenured coaches. He's a defensive-minded coach. You're an offensive-minded coach. Kind of clash and best of both worlds.
Well, I don't know if it's the best of both worlds. His defense is awfully good. I'm not sure that we got the best of both worlds, but I've known him for a long time. I've played against his younger brother when I was in college, you know, I think everybody in the profession has a lot of respect for him, including me, because he's done it every place he's been successful. He's done it different ways. He's played different ways, but very successfully. And so, you know, he's certainly one of the best coaches in college basketball, and has been for a long time. I mean, this is not something new. It's and his ability to sustain it has been very impressive too, because he's been able to be good consistently and consistently for a long time. So I have a ton of respect for his coaching ability, and how you know, how, like I said, he's just done it for a long period of time, and done it at several places, not just one or two. I mean, he's done it at several places, and he's just been good every place he's been.
Kevin, you talked a lot Tuesday night about an edge, and I find myself writing the story and not really knowing how to define an edge for the readers. Can you maybe define it as best you can?
Yeah, I think when I talk about an edge, I think about you playing in a way to where your emotional level of readiness and competitiveness is at the optimum point, so that it allows you to play at your peak from a physical standpoint. So it's that mental and emotional preparation, and having yourself right in that optimum space, because I think you can be, like I said before, overexcited. I think you can be underexcited, and being right on that in that, like I call it, the optimum space of where it allows you to be the best performer, compete at your highest level that you possibly can. And as I said the other night, it's very difficult for any team, almost impossible for any team, to reach that optimum space 30 times a season. Very few teams, very few players are really capable of being that and doing that. You hope that on the nights when you're less than optimum, like we were the other night, that you're still good enough to come out with a victory. But when I talk about that edge, it's just that mental preparation and that emotional preparation and readiness that allows you to compete at your highest capacity physically.
I guess you get it by really good preparation, but how do you lose it and how do you get it back?
I think you can lose in any one of a number of ways, and it's not, you know, it's you can lose it by becoming content, becoming complacent, by losing focus, by focusing on the wrong things. I mean, there's a ton of ways that that you can lose that focus and edge that you need You start thinking about yourself instead of the team. I mean, there's just a number of ways that things can go out of focus for you. And but I think the way that you get it back is you just get back to, and our team won't have there won't be any problem with being on edge on Saturday night. I mean, there are a few games on your schedule each year to where you know you guys will be ready to play. It's not, I mean, doesn't mean that will be good enough. It's just that you know that they'll be ready to play. And I mean, this is a game where I'm not too worried about us being ready to play it. And now, I'm worried about some other things, but I'm not worried about being ready to play. And so I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I don't think it's, unless you allow yourself to continually think about the wrong things, I don't think that it's something that leaves you and leaves for weeks at a time. I just think it can be how you feel on a day. It can be if you rested properly, or I mean, it can be any one of a number. You got a personal issue that you got going on, and it distracts you from being locked in on what you need to do at that particular moment.
This series Kevin got completed, I think shortly after you got here, maybe a couple months after it. How do you remember it going down? What kind of input did you have in the process?
Well, I got here and just, there were a lot of people that said, are we ever going to get back to the backyard brawl? Are we ever going to get West Virginia back on the schedule? And it literally was the easiest scheduling. We called them and said, you guys want to play? And they said yes, and said, do you want to start here or there? And said, we'll start here. And you want to play 2 or 4 years? We'll play 4. Okay. And you know, that was it. And I'm kind of fond of saying there's more lying that goes on in scheduling than there is in recruiting. You can't believe all the crap that you hear when you go to try to schedule games, and people who try to whatever. But nevertheless, we said, hey, you guys want to play? They said yes. I mean, it was that easy, and they wanted to play, and so. I mean, I wasn't surprised that they wanted to play, but they wanted to play, and so did we. So, but see, that's kind of Bob's, he's certainly not afraid of playing anybody. And, you got a bunch of guys that think, well, they think about all the peripheral things that that go into. He doesn't care. He just lines them up and plays them, and it was just real easy. It was, I mean, literally, it took like 5 minutes. Maybe 2 phone calls of 5 minutes, but it didn't take very long. So, which is atypical.
Who made the calls?
Tom Richardson. I want to say, I'm not sure exactly. I think he talked to Billy Hahn and at the time, and so. But it was quick and easy.
It was during that whole process, you knew that this year at the very least at that time you were going to be losing 4 seniors. Was there a party that was kind of like, hey, can we maybe push this back like to 2018? Yeah,
or 2030. Yeah, there was a part of me that thought all those things. Maybe we should schedule this 4-year arrangement for starting in the year 25-25. And hey, what the heck? Fans want to see it, and I think I'm hoping that they see a good game and enjoy it, and I think the players will enjoy it, and that's why we did it.
Are you pumping up the non-conference schedule in other areas too?
You know what? With this thing of we're getting ready to go to 20 league games. Pliz, is that next year or the year after, or do we know for sure? Not pretty sure we're going to 20 league games, so I've got to be careful what I do in regards to futuristic league, non-league scheduling, because when and if we get to 20 conference games, now you have to really reevaluate how you handle the other games on your schedule, and so once upon a time it was 16, then it was 18, then now it's 20, going to be 20. That represents a pretty, you're talking about, 15 or 20% of your schedule, and that's quite a bit. And so now you add all those league games, which obviously are difficult games in this league, then you've got to be pretty careful with what you do with the rest of your schedule.
Are you a fan of that move, of the 20 league games? I mean, you guys are already playing probably what's the toughest conference in the country.
Yeah. I don't know. Ask me after we've done it. Probably not.
Yeah.
But ask me. I think that what it's going to do in some regards is going to create some maybe rivalries or some interleague rivalries, but I think it's going to take away some non-league rivalry games that you're able to play. I mean, so you think about the scheduling from this standpoint, 20 league games, then you got the Big Ten ACC Challenge, and if you have a game that you want to play like this West Virginia game or whatever, now you're talking about there's 22 of your 28 that are choke hard. I mean, they're just real hard, and so just you really have to be careful, because as coaches you don't want to schedule yourself out of a job. I mean, you don't want to do that.
How important do you think it is that I know you've only been here about a year and a half, but how important do you think it is that these two schools that have such deep history play regularly?
I don't. They obviously didn't play for quite a while, right? I mean, there was quite a while that they didn't play, and I'm pretty sure both programs survived. So I don't think that it's a life or death matter. But we're going to play for the next 4 years, so we'll see how that goes, and if Bob and I are lucky enough to still be alive and still be employed, then we'll probably have conversations about what happens from there. I know one thing, it won't take very long.
I think there's a fine line. I think it's good that there's probably going to be a pretty big crowd. Be pretty amped up and things of that nature, but you kind of have to also just play it like a normal game. So I think there's a fine line of embracing the big game moment, but also just blocking everything else out and just playing basketball.
I know that West Virginia is one of the better offensive rebound teams in the country. That's an area where there are a bunch of times on the court where you're really the sort of main rebounder out there. I mean, is there anything that you've seen from them, or anything that you're doing to kind of prepare for that extra challenge?
Yeah, like any game, we're gonna have to hit both sides of the boards really hard. Both our guards and bigs are gonna have to find bodies as soon as the shot goes up, because, like you said, they're a good rebounding team. So we can't let them get too many second chance points. So I think that's good. I think we've been doing all season, at least in practice, working on that a lot, and always getting the body. Whether it's guards or bigs.
Kevin, you talked a lot about the other night about you guys losing the edge from that game Tuesday. Did you think you lost an edge maybe after the Duquesne game? And he was saying you guys definitely were going to have it back for Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not up for Saturday's game, then I don't know what you can get up for. But I think we did a little bit. I think we have a tendency to play really good in spurts and not fall apart at times. So just building on that more consistent, so we don't let our leads dwindle and find ourselves in a battle towards the end of the game like last game.
Is that a product of youth, you think?
A little bit, but I mean, I guess our team's young, but you can't really use that as an excuse for everything. We just got to play better. The coaches are giving us great game plans, great execution things, but we just got to mentally bring it the whole game.
I get this amount. You started struggling offensively, but you made up for it. 16 rebounds, other areas in the game. Was there a certain point maybe where you were like, all right, it's not coming together for me? With the scoring, I'm just gonna hit the boards. And how important is that for you in that kind of situation to still put up that production in other areas?
Yeah, I got obviously off to a slow start offensively, and I wasn't able to get into rhythm. But that's only one side of the ball. So really, I was still trying to be aggressive. Unfortunately, I didn't play well on the offensive side, but I was just trying to defend as well as I could, get as many rebounds, offensive rebounds, get more possessions. So I feel like I just tried to do as much as I could whenever some areas I was struggling in.
Yeah, we had mentioned offensive rebounding earlier there, Ryan. With you guys being so young, I mean, is there any kind of emphasis at all as far as scheming philosophy goes, where you guys maybe try to not focus on offensive rebounding as much and maybe shift the attention more to, hey, if we miss a shot, the priority should be trying to get back on D, not giving up easy buckets as opposed to crashing the boards. Has that been something that's happened at all?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much our game plan, or just what we do. The 4 and 5 usually, crash and try to get offensive boards, and we have our guards get back. That's just kind of the offensive boards, defensive balance, what we kind of have on at pretty much every game. So you got to have that against every team, that balance of rebounding and getting back on defense.
Obviously, having the kind of year that you are this season, almost leading the team in points, averaging almost a double-double. I mean, you were some of your first 3 years was maybe a little bit more of a role player. Do you feel, I mean, this is kind of a dumb question, do you feel at all more like a celebrity on campus? Like, do people recognize you more?
Nah, nothing like that. I'm not really worried about that. I'm just trying to, help the team win as many games as we can. I have a lot to get better. Our team has a lot to get better. So just keep pushing and keep working.
At least a little weird saying your giant face on the banner, the Pitt
yeah.
not picked.
Yeah, I don't. It's cool, but I'm not into too much of that stuff. Outside media, social media stuff. So I mean, I don't know. It's cool, definitely to have, and I definitely appreciate it. But I'd rather not be on it and win a lot more games. So.
Did it take a while to, I know you're kind of more of a soft-spoken guy. Did it take you a little while to get sort of used to that increased profile?
A little bit, but I mean, I'll just always myself, just be who I am and just try to, be the best I can every day for the young guys, for myself, for the team, for everyone. So just be myself.
Throughout your career here, if you could label one or two games, back that had some of the best atmosphere, that you can think of.
I think maybe the Duke game a couple years ago when we beat them here. Some of the Syracuse games, some of the Louisville games. I think those are the ones that stick out.
With the leadership role you're taking this year, is it giving you a taste for maybe going into coaching when you're done playing basketball?
I mean, I'm sure like most college kids, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do after college in the future, but I mean, I guess that's always an option. Staying close to basketball and coaching would be awesome, but right now I'm just focusing on this season and being a senior. So.
How do you anticipate the atmosphere being on Saturday? And at the same time, how important is it for you guys, especially the young youth and experience, to not get too overly amped or too overly excited to where you're out there and playing not the way you should early on?
I expect it to be a great atmosphere. This is one of the biggest, most storied rivalries in college sports, let alone basketball. So definitely looking forward to be exciting. A lot of fans there. A lot of people around campus are talking about it. So we know, us players, we know the importance, even though we have a lot of new players. We've been watching for years, so we do know how important it is. And as far as, not getting too caught up in the game, I'm not particularly worried about that type of thing. We've been coming together. Ryan and Millie, they do a great job of, voicing to us the importance of staying calm, also showing us how to stay calm. So it's something that everybody on the team has become a lot better at since they've gotten here, and I can attest to that myself, so.
Did you set any expectations for yourself personally coming into the season, and how are you, as far as reaching those expectations, how's that going?
Statistically, I didn't have any expectations. I kind of knew what my role was going to have to be on this team, so I didn't set any statistic expectations. One of the expectations I did set for myself, though, was to become a better leader. I've been a leader pretty much everywhere I've been, but just becoming an even better one, Being one of the older guys on such a young team, I think I've been doing a pretty good job with that, though. Just helping everybody be calm, stay confident no matter what, and kind of just focus on the task at hand. So.
You were someone who we had talked with earlier in the year, Jared. You kind of describe yourself as a bit of a basketball junkie. When you see West Virginia on tape, what about them kind of stands out so much to you that you look at and it's just like, wow, it's crazy how they do that?
Just their intensity, being able to withstand that intensity, and kind of their defense. You know, they jump around a lot. They get really amped and excited, and they don't play every person on their team. So just seeing that the guys that do play a lot of minutes can do that for 40 minutes, probably something that jumps out at me. Even today in practice, when we were working on, you know, how they play their defense, and some of the guys on our team, you know, they're like walk-ons, you know, they're getting kind of tired, and I'm like, man, well, they do that for 40 minutes a night, so that's probably something that stood out the most.
Yeah, Kevin was telling us, I think that he'll load to prepare you guys for a press. He'll load extra guys on defense in practice, like, you know, maybe 6 or 7 guys. How have you, you know, and I guess you guys have had this with like High Point, Mount St. Mary's too, going into those games. How have you felt like your guys have done with it, and how much of those lessons about staying calm kind of come into effect here? You know, as far as when you talk with some of the younger players.
Well, like you said, in practice, that does help a lot. Having the extra guys, 6 or 7 at a time, on the court, and denying everyone else. So then one guy's covered with 2 players, and everybody else got someone denying them. It's really been a learning experience when we first started, and now it's becoming something we're actually used to, something we're able to handle with normality. And I got to give a lot of credit to Marcus, because he's shown a lot of improvement in that. I know in the game sometimes, you know, he's been getting more turnovers than he usually would, but in practice, I'm waiting for that practice to translate to the game, like he even said the other night, because in practice, you know, he's almost perfect. So, and that helps the whole team have that whole mindset, you know. When you see the guy who has the ball the most, handling the pressure the best, now it's like we can be calm and handle the pressure ourselves too. So we definitely handle it well. We just got to translate it, you know, into game night, do it for 40 minutes.
What can you do to help translate it?
I think it's just, you know, having the confidence and just sticking to our principles, remembering the things that we do in practice, the things that we talk about, because, you know, a lot of different situations happen in the game. In practice is that time when you do talk about the different game situations. So I think just having that in the back of your mind that, you know, anything can happen and just be prepared, I think that's the biggest part.
How many games West Virginia games did you guys watch in video? And when you watch those games, how often did they drop back and not press?
We watched about 4 or 5 different games in particular. Just random clips of how they play their defense, and 0 times. 0 times.
They're always up,
yes.
up in your face.
Yes.
Have you ever played a team like that?
In junior college, yes, we actually did play a team like that. Luckily, my freshman year, in the national tournament, when we played against Hutchinson, they played like that the whole game, and we didn't handle it that well then. But, you know, this is a whole different team. So, I mean, me personally, though, I've seen it before.
You lost the game?
Yes, we did.
As someone who does have some ball handling duties on this team and has played basketball for a while, I mean, what's the key to playing against a press?
Poise over anything. At this level, if you are a guard, you pretty much have, you know, pretty solid ball handling capabilities. So it's just about staying poised and being mentally tough to know that you're not, one, going to get every call. Guys might foul you a couple times. Just being strong with the ball, kind of being able to have that poise to see over the defense like they're not there, you know, and just being able to step out of it, make a strong pass, and just that type of stuff helps your team be calm. So just being poised, I would say, overall.